Poison Badger.
I'm Syracuse.
And we are watching Stalking Dead versus the Nordic Kneecappers.
And the army of folks they hired to play me.
620 on the team value difference. So I'm assuming that's where that's coming from.
That's a lot.
It's quite a bit.
So I think that was a wizard, a halfling chef, a couple of Bloodweiser babes, an Igor.
Yeah, the whole kit and caboodle.
I believe so.
So looking at a blizzard, see if it's.
We were just talking about this one of the last videos that we did.
So, again, we'll see if this one sticks like the last one did.
So he's going to get the ball. I'm kicking.
And it's funny because we were just talking about a blizzard on this pitch. You were saying that
right, exactly. So it's not the ice, it's the wet floor that's causing the going for it to be a fail on a 1 or 2.
Exactly. It's just so moist out there.
Moist.
So high kick will not change it. However, you did lose 3 rerolls to those chefs.
Right.
That's a sack kick. Oh, and then Brett mighty blowed immediately.
Fuck me, right?
For a KO. That is rude.
It's going well.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Honestly, man, against 2 mummies, I don't know if I'd ever set Brett up to begin with against them when he's not throwing dice first.
Yeah, I
learned that pretty quick.
Yeah. No, not quick enough though.
No, only after the worst had happened.
Well, and then
Sabnor getting the knockout on one of your guys.
Good.
So Pebble Feeder going over there, grabbing the ball with no problem. Ugh, Wizard coming at you too. It's got an arsenal. A lot of people.
And the Wizard's the worst because it just sits there every time. You're just like, is he gonna?
I don't know.
I don't feel like I gave him an opportunity. Is he gonna?
A lot of people say that the inducements don't quite balance out everything, but I think with 3 rerolls and a Wizard and all the other shenanigans that are likely to happen, I think it makes a pretty big difference.
Right, and it's effectively using them, and you have to get a little bit lucky.
Well,
the Master Chef to get the rolls and the Wizard and stuff, but
yeah, I also argue that the benefits of the inducements are sometimes a lot better than just having a team if you don't know how to play.
Right.
Because you get the benefits no matter what, at least in some degree.
True.
So setting everybody back up. Did not get a lot of push there. Spend most of your time getting back up, it looks like.
Yeah, that's the way that goes sometimes. When all your dudes are on the ground, sometimes you don't really get a chance to do it.
And a KO right there. This is one of those games where that armor value 7 starts to really be a glaring weakness.
Right.
So.
I mean, last game I had quite a few dudes get knocked around a bit, but this is one of those times where just so immediately I was at a player disadvantage, and I really couldn't quite disengage my dudes real well either.
Well, here's one benefit that, see, it would have been tough to do, but you could have had a blitz with your Berserker. The Frenzy could have probably ruined the whole thing, but the Mummy doesn't have block, and that might have been a way to get into the cage. Because you had 2 guys standing up to him,
right,
with no others, your Berserker could have gone in at strength 5 for a 1 die, unless you would have brought somebody over, but I don't know if you had the bodies to do it.
Yeah, I really didn't have the bodies, and I'm really concerned about the receivers as well. And I don't think that he failed a dodge on any of those guys this entire game either. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But I was just chasing him around all game.
Yeah, I just think with block and him setting up 2 guys adjacent to his mummy like that it might have been too tantalizing for me to not go for. Even if
and I went for the Dauntless action and then had to re-roll it. So that was a 3+ that I failed. If you could count the 3+ that I failed this match, it would fill up a hand, if not more.
Well, yeah, he just did a 1 die and put himself down with Sabnor, but
He threw 1 dies at me with reckless abandon, and they hit hard as well.
I'm about to say that one didn't, but we'll see if that continues. Sounds like it doesn't.
But
So,
he did a really good job of working a cage,
oh,
making it happen.
break tackle on a 1, that's rough, and you had no rerolls left, so that's Puppy Dog Face, not my son, out for the game.
So that's another just 3+ that I failed. So with tragic consequence as well.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to get him A, away, and B, use him in a different manner, because I don't want him going toe to toe with that.
Actually, him being a strength 4 character with break tackle, that was a 2+ dodge.
Wow, even better.
Yeah, because it would have been 4 and then a +1 for dodging since there were no tackle zones.
Good call.
So, to make you feel better about it.
I just, that's why I don't fear that. And then again, not having any rerolls because I had to use it on the Dauntless reroll that didn't even knock the mummy down either. So that's just a whole lot of not doing super well.
Yeah, that is a tough but slow cage. Yep, and then there's that problem with the frenzy, is that if the first one doesn't go in, you're in a bad situation usually.
Yeah.
Because what you would prefer really is just to push in there and then stop throwing hits. But you don't really have that choice with frenzy. So he squirrels in, gets the touchdown pretty easy. So that was a pretty textbut drive. A lot of
Right?
A lot of pens helped out with that situation, but
he did his order of operations effectively.
Yep, and
because even when he failed, it wasn't catastrophic. He was really good about knowing where he wanted to move and moving to that place in a safe and controlled manner, while still getting in a fair amount of licks.
Yep, and he put a correct line for what you had put up, and capitalized on that, and then had the foresight to create a strong cage. Because of the missing players, almost an impenetrable cage.
Right.
So right now you can see him where you might have overcommitted on this line right here. That's 5 with no wings on just a couple dead. And with that, I mean, you get the points, but with the regeneration, you're really looking at a tough time keeping these players out.
Right, and that's exactly what happened. So this was my original plan, was to get some receivers down there, try to kind of split him a little bit, and try to pull him in the back. And I was actually going to run the ball.
Ugh.
But he didn't really bite as well as I'd thought, and this is going to collapse pretty quickly because things aren't going to work out real well.
Yeah. I would caution anybody going, especially against any undead team, but you can win a game without going against the mummies. You can just let them do what they want to do.
Yeah, I really wanted to get one of those mummies out of there.
It would help, but I've always been a big fan of just feeding a lineman to the big guy. Oh, that's an unfortunate throw.
Right.
It really was the catch that was a bummer.
Right.
The result, rolling a 2. So
that's a 3+ fail.
Yep.
And then just watch what he does here, and it's super impressive the way that he knocked my guy down, immediately covered that ball.
Well, one argument to be made is even if the guy did catch the ball, I don't know where he would have gone with the ball. He had the backfield presence to immediately even go for even more upfield than your berserker would have been.
Right, and here's where I was going with that. I didn't have a lot of turns, so I really was gonna hope for him going in for a 1 die and just getting the ball deep enough where he couldn't penetrate. But the ball's on my side of the pitch here,
Yeah.
and
And here's the risk right here of doing a play like that is that he has a chance to a one-turn touchdown.
So using that guard.
If you wanted to get the ball downfield, I would have probably suggested doing a pass to an empty cell downfield.
Good. That's a really good call.
After running the Berserker forward just to capitalize on it later on if he didn't get people into grips.
That's a really good call. I didn't even think about that. Because I'd gotten scored on, and that was the first time I got scored on this season, I was really kind of motivated to try to get a score, to get somewhere close. Overreached, and this is what I get for it. So that's going to intercept failed, dodge out, no big deal, and that's 2 touchdowns in the first half for him, which is phenomenal.
Well, and you saw the players that he used right there. It was perfect strategizing to capitalize on a mistake very quickly. He had his white with agility 4 protecting and guarding as a quasi-safety on that wing where he was anticipating you going. I think they were originally in the center to eat whichever direction you were going to go. Use that as a guy who was more skilled than the rest of his team of getting in there and getting that ball up and then out, and then utilize the receiver, which was a blodge white, which is a really good choice because not only is he like the ghouls that he has with blodge, but a little bit more of an armor value as well. So it's a very good receiver.
Man, I mean he's outplaying me on this. So and that's what's hard is when you're getting good luck on the hits and putting me at a player disadvantage. You're really creating a situation that the victory is assured. He's just doing such a phenomenal job on every side of the ball.
Well, and this is kind of a double thing going here. He has the benefit of having cheap disposable players that keep coming back. You're maybe not damaging him as much as he's damaging you, but with the armor value in consideration, I think the percentages are about the same. The difference being is that his guys keep standing up. And one problem that you really haven't faced before, I would say before this game, maybe once or twice in the last 3 seasons, but this is glaringly obvious, is that you're an armor value 7 team. So like elves, you're going to get dwindled down very quickly.
Right. So I'm already down 2 players right now, so that's my full team on the pitch now with 11.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that you run what could be considered a slimmer roster. And you don't have to. Your guys are cheap enough to where you could run, 14 or 15 players just in case you do get those guys removed. But you've chosen to kind of run that slim 13.
And I've never really had a problem with it until now.
Yep, and then it's just one of those things that you try to prepare for every situation, but until you really see it for what it is, you sometimes can't. And it's just the nature of an armor value 7 team. So Gear Nordic Sun tossing out that pass. It's a short pass, so no bonuses to it. So really didn't have any bonuses to that pass on a 4+.
Right, and right there, I wasn't super concerned because I was throwing it to a place where he couldn't get to it this turn.
Yep.
So I wanted to go for it and try to get the field moving, but I mean, I definitely came into this with the wrong strategy. I thought I could get a little more ball movement now that I had that, the thrower, the runner, and the agility 4 lineman.
Here's the only issue with that is while I respect trying to get the ball movement, there's no eligible receivers. What would be this upcoming basically this turn that you have right now.
Right.
So getting that ball a little bit closer wouldn't have achieved anything.
Well, I wanted to put it in the hands of the thrower.
Agreed. And it's a good plan, but again, had you just waited a turn, it would have been a 3+ with no it would have been a 3+ catch on the thrower with no other rolls.
Right.
And
good call.
you would be in the same situation because there's no eligible receivers right now. So getting it a little earlier it's an extra. Basically, what I'm saying is it's an extra roll, and you didn't need it yet.
No, you're right. So it's all of these tiny miscalculations that are causing him because Gimpy's playing such a tight match that it's. I feel like my hand's forced with 2 touchdowns down to get something going for myself.
Yep. And in this situation right here, like let's say Gear had the ball and we had that same situation we were handing off the thrower, I would consider that pass, if the white wasn't there obviously, that pass to be a good plan because this would be considered an eligible receiver because he can get away from the pack with the ball. So that would be a good move. Whereas in the one before wasn't a terrible move, basically it's poor reroll management. I don't know if you actually used the reroll for it, but if you had, it would have been poor reroll management, but I don't think you did now that I think about it.
Right.
So setting up with the ball over here, ball's right next to the mummy, which is one of the worst situations you can get into. He's just tough to get off the ball.
Right.
So the white's breaking off, trying to get into here. Push on the ball, gets it even deeper in a worse situation. Not much you can do with that. That was a lucky bounce for the Stalking Dead after that blitz.
Yeah.
Brett previously stunned. Ghoul gets in there. It's a really tight cage right there. So let's see if you can kind of get the noose on it.
Right. And now I'm playing pretty on tilt right here. I don't really know how I'm going to get in there. I'm playing reactively now. I haven't had much luck in imposing my will on him, and he's just sitting there taking it.
This is one of those teams that, you're looking at majority armor value 8 and up that has regen almost across the board. It's the team that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And now with Blodge on almost every positional player, he's tough to put down in any regard.
Absolutely correct. And two mummies with that strength 5 plus the mighty blow is gross.
Yeah, not to mention the rock mobster with guard. He's making everybody just a little bit stronger. So
yeah, it's definitely sad.
Gear and Carry setting up on Ghoul runnings, trying to prevent the potential pass. Breaking in on that weak skeleton over there, no regen, so he's out. Yeah.
Finally got one.
Yeah, that Igor makes it to where you're really got to be unlucky not to get him out. 75% chance for those fools to come back.
Silly.
Yeah, if you can get an Igor, get it every time, folks. If you're a necro, rather if you have a necromancer because you're an undead style team. So he's opened up the lane, he dodged away, and he's just going to do a short pass after a go for it. Oh, pass block. And it doesn't stop the throw. Oh, no, it was an inaccurate pass that didn't get reroll probably. Oh, lightning coming down to kill that assist.
Right.
Badly hurt.
So that was I think the first thing that happened to him that was like, wow, that kind of sucks, and I'm really focused on trying to take advantage of it. Right now, I'm trying to disallow. Right, I'm trying to disallow the freaking touchdown. So there we go.
Yeah.
Double ones.
I may be, and it may be hindsight 2020, but I think I would have taken the blitz with Gear and try to get that Ghoul off the pitch, Ghoul runnings, and then mark the ball with both players.
Yeah.
I think, granted, that might not win you it might not get you the touchdown, but I think getting 2 touchdowns in that time was pretty far gone anyways.
Right.
But
yeah.
Could have potentially been. It was an easy way to get one player off the pitch with potentially a long-term injury and still mark twice. But you pushing, getting the guys down, and injuring them, and get a good pass in there worked wonders, and should get you a touchdown because he hasn't played any backfield.
Right. He was playing that the left side there, that White's covering a little bit, but that's what you do. You put your players where his aren't, and he can't reach me to hit. So
yeah, with a movement allowance 6 though, I would play a little closer to the center and a little farther back. you don't need to be 3 spaces away from a guy to be able to cover him.
Right.
And if you're only going to run one safety, you have to be able to cover both sides of the pitch in case a lateral happens like that direction.
Right.
Nice. So getting in there, and that's a move I always like to do as well, and I see a lot of other coaches do it to a lot of success. Is using the runner the ball carrier that hasn't done anything yet as the assist and then blitz with somebody else. Always a good move.
It's an easy way to get somebody off as long as there's just one.
Yeah, but always be cognizant of sidestep.
Right.
Because you could make the situation worse.
And in that case, I had exactly 6 movement, and so I took my 2 chances of the going for it on the last turn, trying to stretch that field.
Yeah, and that's a good way to do it as well, as if I usually count that out, like if you're on a drive, count out how many spaces you're going to need and take all the risk as early as you can, and then later on, because you know they're going to pull out some stops to take care of you.
Right.
So reducing the risk at the last second is the best move, in my opinion.
Right. And, do it one at a time because I had the rerolls, so
and
not a big deal.
Textbook, good move.
Watch him just hit and hit and hit and hit. Good God.
Yeah, man, that was rough. For the Stalking Dead, that was a pretty good game. I think a couple areas with your 2-0 win, rather your 2-0 lead at the time, you got a little bit lax on your defense, and that's why you got scored on. But you still won. It's but just keep that in mind, especially against like elf teams or anybody that's got like a decent passing game. Be very cognizant that you're always on defense. Don't ever think that the game can't just turn around on you. But other than that, I think you did a very good job, and this is way better than your first season. And if you continue to play at this level throughout the rest of the season, you are probably a shoo-in for the championship. I don't know how many of the other teams can handle a team like this.
And I just want to say, now that I've rewatched it, I mean, you didn't get as lucky as we were kind of talking about. You played super well and super technical, and I wasn't able to do any of the things that I normally do. So kudos to you, man. That was less gross for me. I didn't make as many mistakes as I thought I might have, and you didn't get as lucky as we talked about. So I think that it's a testament to your growth and as a player and as a coach.
For you on the Nordic Kneecappers,
bring it down. Rain the hate.
It's tough, man. I think you have to put yourself back in the mindset that you're back to being a building team. I think you were very comfortable with your team in the last 2 seasons, so coming back in and then having these brand new players on the team, I think you forget that. The Berserkers, you haven't gotten a feel for that yet, so there was 2 turnovers caused because of the Berserkers. There's a couple roles in there that were just unfortunate, but that happens.
Oh, right.
Other than that, I don't know if you made what I would consider like grave decisions on the pitch that caused the problems, other than Brown the line in the very beginning against those 2 mummies. But you immediately learned that lesson.
Yeah.
I really think it's your list. I think it's your roster. I think you need to, unless you're extraordinarily tied to them, I think you need to cull a few of those over-leveled linemen and replace them with level 1s. And just because I don't know if those linemen are pulling the weight that they need to for that team value. A lot of your problems this game was because of inducements.
Yep.
And I other than obviously the Stalking Dead playing a great game, you were kind of on the back foot the entire game because of those inducements. Your reroll reduction, the Igor that was given out, all that stuff really hurt you. So I think maybe going through that roster and figuring out ways to safely reduce your team value may be in order.
That's a really good point. And that's like there'll be a second round of culling because I've already gone through and gotten the positionals by releasing quite a few players. So I'm gonna have to make a decision and see what guys have the skills that are complementary on a player, and some of them are a little disjointed because I was just trying to get them. And that's a really good point. All your tips are super well received. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And those linemen that were high level were good last season because you didn't have all your positionals. But now those positionals are raising your team value quite a bit. So you have to make a decision if you're going to stick with that or you're going to go back to your normal team. Otherwise, you got to lower that team value.
Fair play.
Thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate everybody.
See ya.
Bye.